Julie never seen that before. I made that at 2:30 in the morning when I was doom scrolling and couldn't sleep.
Is that a mariachi band?
I don't know. It was on my it was on my subscription to licensed music, and I was like, what sounds happy and like not sad?
I like it.
like cartoons on a Saturday.
It does sound like cartoons on a Saturday, or like what you hear in a Mexican restaurant in like Texas. I love it.
I mean, it is what it is. I was like, I wanted something that wasn't the morning show music. So
yeah.
So it is what it is for now. So everyone, if you're here for the first time, I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Julie Roginsky, and you are watching Saturdays for Sanity on the Mayday Network. And we sit here on Saturdays and try to talk about stuff that doesn't make us feel like we're going to lose our minds, because every day is like drinking out of a fire hose, and it's awful. And we need to be reminded of things maybe that are funny, or maybe that aren't as scary or aren't as sad, and making me want to book a one-way ticket to Australia.
Uruguay. Can I tell you? Apparently, Uruguay has become the place for people to go when they want to get out of here.
Like, I mean, like expats?
Yeah. Like, yes, I was at a party over Christmas, and I ran into not one, but two couples who had moved to Uruguay. Yes, because apparently Uruguay is super progressive.
Okay.
I've been to Uruguay, actually.
Where is it?
It's right near Argentina.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, it's somewhere down there. Yeah.
It's super progressive. It's warm.
Okay.
The healthcare system apparently is, if you have to be in South America, pretty good.
Okay.
And it's cheap. And you could buy some beachfront property for like next to nothing.
Okay.
And apparently that's where everybody, and it's very LGBTQ friendly, because one of the couples that I met were
that is very important. Yeah. I do know some gay couples who have bought property in South America and countries that are friendly to same-sex couples for that reason, especially if they have children. Yeah.
And so apparently Uruguay is the place to go.
Who knew? It was Portugal for a minute. Remember Portugal? Everybody was like, oh, I gotta buy stuff in Portugal. I was like, who has money for this? Must be nice.
I think the problem with Portugal is, like, Portugal is in Europe, which means that God only knows what the hell's going to happen in Europe.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
Whereas Uruguay, like, who's going to think about, I was going to say until about a month ago or 2 weeks ago, who would have thought about invading Uruguay? But now that I think about it, it's in the Western Hemisphere, and apparently that belongs to Donald Trump. So for all I know, we're going to be landing troops.
I mean, is New Zealand like, I mean, I'm not saying we should move there because it's expensive and they're not going to let us in, but I feel like, where are they? What hemisphere would they belong to in the sphere of influence kind of thing?
That's a good question. Well, it's Oceania, so I don't know, but could I actually ask, like, Rosie, if you're in the chat, and people from Australia who are in the chat, what's the beef between Australia and New Zealand? Like, why does
what is that?
What's that about? Because it's not like we in the United States, like, well, at least the normal ones among us, have a beef with Canada or look down on them. In fact, we love our Canadian neighbors, but for some reason, I feel like there's a lot of beef between Australia and New Zealand, and I don't understand what that's all about. Maybe somebody can explain.
Yeah.
I know.
I have not a clue.
I don't
know. Eileen, oh my God, the music startled my dog.
Because your dog thought that perhaps some tequila shots.
Listen. You know what it is also, is that it's cold outside and it is dreary and awful every day in New York right now. And so I was like, you know what? I need some, like, I want to feel like I'm on vacation. You know what I mean? I want like vacation music. And that was what I could find.
Yeah. Well, I'm here in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you can see out my window. It is coming down pretty hard. And I think
speaking of Canada, yes, go Expos.
Anyways, I think I've said this before, but we're on top of this, like, hill, our house, and so every time it snows even a little bit, we have to get plowed out. And sometimes our plower guy shows up, and sometimes he shows up when he feels like it. So I may be here for the duration. So yes. Anyway, what's going on, Michelle? You and I both didn't sleep last night because we were texting each other at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Ooh, I just echoed there for a second. I don't even know. You know what it is? I don't know if you guys, if you have Netflix or not, you know, sometimes they, Rosie, LOL, you are in a I don't give a crap mood today. I am. I really am. I have 0 Fs left to give. It's funny. There's a limited series that is on Netflix. Well, actually, I think it first came out on Hulu 10 years ago, but it just made its way to Netflix. And it's like the #1 show on Netflix right now, which is like kind of crazy. It's called, well, it's based off a Stephen King book. And I've seen it before. I saw it when it came out. It's called 11/22/63, and it's about the John F. Kennedy assassination, but it's like sci-fi kind of. Chris, oh God, what's his name? Chris Cooper is in it, and he plays this like he owns a diner, and if you go into the closet, you step into 1960. Like you walk into this closet and all of a sudden you fall down and you're in 1960.
Is it like Narnia? Like you just go into
sort of, but like when you come back, no matter how much time you spend there, and only 2 minutes pass in present time. So that's actually a really good analogy. I hadn't thought of the Narnia thing. So, you know, he basically tries to get this younger guy who's played by James Franco to go back to 1960. And he's got like a whole roadmap because he's gone so many times. And he's like, but he's, you know, sick and he can't go back again. And he's like, go and stop the John F. Kennedy assassination. And so it's like all the kind of like sci-fi time travel, like time is pushing back on you and like they don't, you know, you're not supposed to be there, and it's like something about the butterfly effect. Anyways, it's really good. But it's also kind of like scary. It's not scary, but like I don't know if you like it. It's like paranormal. There's like this paranormal kind of, I don't know, vibe to it that like when you're home by yourself, like at night and like all the lights are out and you're sitting with your cats, it just kind of starts to freak you out.
That reminds me, there's a show in the 80s, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Maybe people in the chat remember, that was based on this premise that they would go, it was a I can picture the people too in it. It was a adult man and a kid, a boy, and they would time travel back to like correct, like history had to go the way it was going to go, and they had to go back and fix it to make sure that history would go the way it went. So, for example, I'm making this, I don't know if this is an episode, but like if somebody was going to like strangle baby Hitler in the crib, like they had to go back and like make sure that that didn't happen so that history could proceed.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. But it wasn't like anything like Nazis. It was like, went back to like, I don't know, like Alexander the Great times. And like, it was a stupid show, but what the hell was that show? Does anybody remember the name? Was it Quantum Leap? Yes.
I was like, was it Quantum Leap?
I don't think it was Quantum Leap. Was it Quantum Leap?
Because there is Scott Bakula, who's like the lead
guy. I think it was Quantum Leap. Yes.
Yeah, is Quantum Leap. I watched that show. I was actually about to ask you, have you ever seen Quantum Leap?
Did you? Yeah, so it sounds like Quantum Leap.
Yeah, because what would happen is they would go back and like, and he'd be, you know.
Or was it Voyagers? Wait a second. I'm now confusing it. Because I feel like before Quantum Leap, there's another show. Was Quantum Leap Scott Bakula and some kid?
No, it was Scott Bakula and this other guy who had some like little thing that was always telling him what was going on.
No. So then Quantum Leap was this lame show in the 80s.
Okay.
It was some kid. I can picture the kid too. It was a dark-haired kid and a guy who looked like Scott Bakula but wasn't Scott Bakula. Because I feel like Scott Bakula was in every show in the 80s.
He was. And now he does theater, which we love.
What?
Yeah, he does musical theater. He's done 2 shows with a couple friends of mine, like in the last couple of years.
Huh.
Yeah, he just did a show with my friend Ariana DeBose, and then he was in this other musical that my friend Daisy directed, I think last year. So yeah, he's like does a lot of theater.
People are saying Voyagers. Voyagers doesn't sound familiar, but let me look. Hold on.
Reminds me of Quantum Leap. I know it is very Quantum Leap. And funny enough, there is an episode of Quantum Leap. I don't know why I remember this, but he goes back and he's put in Lee Harvey Oswald's body. And I don't know. He
was Voyagers. Yes, it absolutely was Voyagers. Yes, 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 yes. That show lasted like 5 seconds.
And Scott Bakula was not in this show.
Scott Bakula, surprisingly, was not in the show. According to Wikipedia, Voyagers is an American science fiction television series about time travel that aired on NBC from basically October 3rd, 1982 to July 10th, 1983. So
yeah, I was the babes. I was a little babes.
Starred John Eric Hexum and Mino Pelusi. Yes. And they're supposed to go back. They use handheld devices called an Omni that flashes red when history is wrong and green when the timeline is correct to travel in time and assure that history unfolds correctly. I cannot believe I just remembered the show.
Yeah, that's see, John says the only time I watched Quantum Leap was the JFK assassination episode. This is what I'm saying. Like, why do I remember that? I watched a lot of these episodes, but this was one that was like, and then he leaps right before he shoots. So it's like it doesn't become a part of that. He like leaps before he shoots the president.
So Quantum Leap was a ripoff of Voyagers.
Was it?
It sounds like it. Was Quantum Leap going back there and like trying to correct?
I don't remember. Someone in the chat remind me, because I mean I was a kid when I watched this, so I don't remember if it was like I don't remember if it was like there was a reason why, or if it was an accident, or if there was, you know what I mean? Or are they just trying to go to like make things right for people? I think maybe that was part of it. Like they had to go make things right for people.
Yeah. So it's basically the same thing. Do you remember, you don't remember because I think you were too young. Does anybody in the chat remember there was a show that Jason Bateman was in for like 5 seconds? It wasn't Silver Spoons. It was after Silver Spoons. And he played, like, I can picture the show, but I can't remember what the name of the show was or anything like it. I could probably look it up. But for some reason, I was thinking about that show the other day. There's a bunch of good shows in the 80s that kind of just came and went. And
yeah, true. Did you watch, I'm trying to think of other shows. Did you watch Highway to Heaven? I watched that with Michael Landon.
And Victor French. And no, because I was such a Little House fan that I refused to.
Oh, yeah.
And plus, Highway to Heaven felt like it was a little bit like Christian.
Yeah. I watched Family Ties too. I loved Family Ties.
Loved Family Ties.
Family Ties. And like I remember being a kid also and not understanding that Alex P. Keaton was a Republican. Like I didn't understand. Like I just thought he was uptight.
Family Ties. I think the problem is that Mallory went MAGA in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your move. Yes. 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 It's your move. Thank you. That's exactly what it was called. Bold Tigers. It's your move. That's the one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Mallory, Justine Bateman.
She's MAGA? Oh, that is upsetting. We have someone we're going to bring in here in just a minute. We're going to hang with us for a little bit. You'll probably recognize her. Just we thought it might be fun to just bring another person in on these Saturdays and partake in the ridiculousness of this day and conversation. I'm trying before we bring her in, I'm trying to think. Oh, I was at my friend's birthday party last weekend. And I don't know, we were all sitting around playing board games. And then all of a sudden we were sitting around, someone was like, started singing the theme song to Family Ties. And before you knew it, like all 10 of us were all singing it at the top of our lungs.
Great theme song. And you know who wrote that?
What did you do, baby? And like, we were all, I don't know. I was like, where did that come from? And I don't know.
Yeah, but you know who wrote that song?
No.
Alan Thicke.
Stop.
Alan Thicke wrote a bunch of all of these great theme songs in the 80s.
Are you serious?
Alan Thicke made most of his money not as Jason Seaver on what's it called?
Growing Pains?
Growing Pains, but as a jingle writer for a theme song writer.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm going to look up how many songs theme songs Alan Thicke wrote, and I'm telling you, it's a lot. Yep. That's where Robin Thicke gets it.
What's his son's name? He's got a son who was what?
Robin? Yeah. He wrote Different Strokes.
Get out.
He wrote The Facts of Life.
No. Stop it.
Yes. He wrote the theme song for The Wizard of Oz. He wrote the theme song for The Wheel of Fortune. Celebrity sweepstakes. Yep. Yeah, he wrote a lot. Yep. I'm telling you, Alan Thicke was multi-talented.
Well, I mean, I guess that explains his son's musical ability. I guess ability. I remember my husband when he used to do karaoke league, one of the karaoke teams was called Robin Finn. It was when Blurred Lines was like really big on the radio. That's really crazy. I didn't know that.
No, not the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Odds. It was a theme show, a talk show, not a talk show, a game show. Yeah.
Okay.
But it says he didn't write the Growing Pains theme. He wrote the Growing Pains theme song too, but he didn't write the what's it called? Theme song, Family Ties. But I feel like he did. I'm gonna look up who wrote it. But yeah,
that's wild.
That is wild. And Family, and yeah, yep.
Wow. Well, we learn something new every day. I have some other stuff. So when we bring in our
who's Brad? Brad Pitt?
Brad who?
Brad who? I'm not buds with anybody with Brad. Well, I know Brads I'm buds with, but I don't think it's any famous Brads.
I mean, I know of someone named Brad, but I don't think any of you would know him.
Yeah.
So, and then also, I wish that it's funny. I was looking at the news before I came on here and I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to talk about it. But it's hard to avoid. And I hope everyone is taking care of themselves, because I feel like everyone I'm talking to right now doesn't know how to function. Like, I don't know how to go about my life. I don't know how to go out to dinner. I don't know how to, find joy or like talk to my kids and be normal, because this is also terrible. I don't know. Julie, how are you feeling?
All right. This is kind of like the new normal that we're all living under, right? I think we talked about this last week where I wrote a column where I said, like, how long are we supposed to live with this kind of stress? Like, it's just impossible to live with this low-grade fever all the time. I think, Michelle, you got to kind of live by your credo, which is you can't suffer from a lack of imagination. You got to prepare yourself for the worst, because they're going to exceed whatever you think the worst is. They're probably going to exceed it. Sure.
Wait, so John, I researched things and learned that Michelle met her husband singing karaoke, and I wondered what their go-to songs were. I'm assuming you probably saw my wedding announcement in the New York Times. I probably saw that.
It's the last wedding announcement in the New York Times. Really?
Was that? Yeah.
I saw your wedding announcement in the New York Times. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't get the page. We got a little blurb. And it does. The last line says that we met in singing karaoke, but we don't usually sing together because I don't know. He does his thing and I do my thing.
Do you guys still do karaoke together or not really?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. It's like not as fun anymore. I don't know. It just hasn't been as fun the last few times we've gone. Because it's like we like to go to the bars that have karaoke. They happen to have karaoke, but they're not karaoke bars. Does that make sense? Like regular bars that have like a little stage and then like karaoke like on the weekends or something, instead of going to the places where they have rooms and stuff. Like, we don't like that. That's not cool. I mean, it's cool for some people, but like that's just not our jam. So it's like hard to find. And all of the places that we've been going the last 20 years have all closed recently. So, it's unfortunate.
What's wrong with my hat brim? I just pulled this hat out of a closet. I don't even know what this hat is. I asked my husband.
Oh, I think they're saying that they want you to make it rounder.
Oh, like this? I don't know, you guys. I've never even seen this hat before. I don't even know whose hat this is. Actually, it's my husband's hat from his like high school reunion. I don't know. I don't wear baseball hats. I just put this on because Michelle was wearing a baseball hat and I had hat envy because my hair was a mess.
Well, listen, inevitably there will be some man in the comments who will tell me that I shouldn't wear a hat, or ask me why I'm wearing a hat, or why do you girls wear hats, or things like that, because those comments do happen. And people can just maybe, I don't know, F off, because I'm going to wear a hat if I want to, and you can all deal with it. So with that said, we have a friend coming to join us today to hang, and it just happens to be Jaclyn, Lieutenant Colonel Urso, to not talk about us getting bombed or going to war. She's just coming on to chat with us about things. So let's bring her in. Hello, Jaclyn.
Hey, Jaclyn.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Super you have a hat on too.
Yeah, I gotta represent you.
What is it? I can't see
great.
It. It's the University of Miami. They're playing.
University of Miami. Mm-hmm. Yeah, isn't that a Monday? Isn't that a Monday?
Monday night.
Oh, fun. So Jaclyn, how's the weather in Miami today?
It's a balmy 70 degrees. Oh. Beautiful. Sun's kind of peeking in and out of the clouds. And hopefully we'll get up to around 75, 80. It was wonderful. We had class yesterday and we had to break out into groups. And so we went and sat out on the patio for about an hour and a half. It was fantastic.
Why do you ask people, Michelle, what the weather is like in Florida? You know they're going to just stick it to you every time.
Well, I mean, but the politics here are better. So it's like, you know what I mean?
I feel like every time, this time of year, all my friends in California like start texting me. They're like, what's the weather like? Oh, is it really cold? And they're not really asking because they care. They just want to brag about what the weather's like.
Yeah, they're like, well, it's really nice here. I'm like, it is.
I'm not trying to fix the brim of this hat, but you guys, this is the best I can do, and now my glasses are off.
You know what's a really good way to do it is if you, and I learned this just from my guy friends in high school, if you take it off and you stick the brim in a hat, like, I don't want to take this off because my hair looks so bad, but you put it in like this and it kind of molds it if you let it sit there for a while.
So cup?
Yeah, like you put it, like you take this, right? And you put it in the cup.
Oh.
So it like kind of forms the brim.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. You don't have to. I'm just saying that if you wanted to, that's what you could do.
Nice.
Well, it's funny because, my husband and I like to try to take a trip somewhere because we don't really go anywhere. Right. But during this time of year, because I'm like, well, let's see. Okay, Christmas is over. If I can just get to Martin Luther King Day, and then there's a Monday, there's a vacation day. Okay, if I can get to the end of January, then February is a really short month. If I can get to March, that's March Madness, and then the weather's going to get better, and then there's more daylight, and then there's daylight savings, and then it's April. It's great. But the February part is really hard. It's like Febtober is what we used to call it in college. And it's bad times. And
short month. At least you have to think about the fact that it's a short month.
Yeah, right. Unless it's leap year, which that's not helpful. But
not this year.
Yeah. But in the meantime, got to take our vitamin D and everything. You're not missing New York, Jaclyn?
Not right now. I am missing Palm Springs. I have a condo in Palm Springs.
Right.
Many winters there. It's just beautiful. The desert's magical during the winter time.
I know. My dad was just asking me last night if Joe and I are going to go to Palm Springs this year. And I was like, maybe, because we have the cat and, a sick cat, and it's harder to get people to take care of him. So, we'll see. But we might try to go for the tennis tournament. The big tennis tournament, which I think is in March or something. But like, guys, if you've never been to Palm Springs, if you've ever thought about going to Palm Springs, if there's any way you can get there, go. It is paradise. It is the greatest place on earth. As someone from the East Coast, the Northeast, who didn't think that she would like little desert towns in California, it is amazing. It is like so gay and so amazing and so beautiful, and everyone is so nice, and like architecture is beautiful. And Jaclyn was at 29 Palms, right? That was your last place that you were at. And what was it like at 29 Palms?
It's beautiful there too. It's just a lot more rural. But you walk out and the sun is just beaming, and the red mountains are gorgeous. There's not as many people. So what I would do is I bought an RV. And so I lived in the RV during the week. And then I travel down to Palm Springs on the weekends and enjoy, beautiful Palm Springs. And everybody's happy there because
that's what I mean. Everyone's in a good mood. Everyone. How could you not be? Yeah. Even if the sun sets at like 3:30, who cares? You're in Palm Springs. You know what I mean?
Ambient light for another hour and a half, and the sunsets are beautiful.
That's so nice. Has anybody been to Japan? Because we're going there, I think, at the end of March.
Jaclyn?
Yeah, I lived in Okinawa. I lived in Okinawa for 2 years.
Wow. All right. Tell me where besides Tokyo and Kyoto I need to go.
The northern part has beautiful mountains, and they've got these this national park that has like monkeys that run around, and
Oh.
like you can go hang out with them.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had monkeys in Japan, like native to Japan monkeys, or they just brought monkeys and they kind of.
No, I think they're native. I remember a friend with his family. They flew up to the northern part of Japan and went to a park and hung out. Their kids hung out with monkeys. It was really cool.
Is that Hokkaido?
I'll have to get the name of it for you. I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, I lived in Okinawa for 2 years, and I went to Kyoto and Tokyo. I met my brother there. He actually flew
yeah, I remember that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Weekend there. Yeah, and I think we're gonna potentially swing by Hong Kong on the way there or back, although it's not close because we have friends who spent part of the year there, so we might see them. But I'm a little confused as to whether. So, like, we were originally going to go to China and not Japan, and then it turns out that the Chinese do exactly what the Russians do, and I'm sure that the United States probably does it too, which is that the minute you land, they kind of imprint your computer. They take all of your stuff and just And I don't really want my stuff in the hands of the Chinese.
No.
Not that I have anything to hide, but like they don't need to go through my emails. So I'm wondering, do you think Hong Kong is the same?
They say that they have autonomy, but I don't really believe it. I think
I don't believe it either.
I think there's a China police state kind of.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they could do that there too. So if that's the case, maybe we'll skip Hong Kong. But anyway, I'm so excited because the last time I went to Asia, it was just I've been to Thailand, but I've never been to East Asia. So I'm super
Joe went to China a few years ago. Our friend Shampoo got married.
Stop. You don't just say your friend Shampoo got married.
Oh, well, you know Shampoo.
Yes.
He's an odd duck. His last name is Shampoo, but everybody calls him Shampoo.
Okay.
Like spells it we spell it SHAMPOO. And he married a lovely young woman from China, and so they got married there. And so Joe flew there to go, and I did not want to go for that very reason. I was like, I was like, I don't want them all up in my stuff. I don't want. You can't go on Facebook there. Not that I even like want to, but it's just like I don't like going places where I feel like I can't do something like that's very normal. It scares me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have the same feelings. I was there in Okinawa and I was so close to China, and I just didn't want to risk it, especially with being in the Marine Corps and, having security clearance.
Well, right. You're under a different amount of scrutiny. So like, I don't know, can you talk about when you were in the Baltics for that stuff, or like what you ran into there with stuff, or can you talk about that?
Kind of in general terms, we were on a ship with the U.S. Navy and our NATO counterparts and allies, and my general was kind of they call it the commander of the landing force. So if you think of Eisenhower on D-Day. So we had a whole fleet of NATO allies floating around in the Baltic, and we did 2 practice combined forcible entry operations from the sea. And so we were there for about a month floating around. We went to Sweden, and then we turned back around and we went to Estonia. And the whole time, the intelligence was coming, because you have your normal briefs through the exercise, but then you have your real life briefs as well. And so the intelligence guys, got up and said, hey, make sure you understand that we're being watched and everything that we do. Russia's got submarines that are out there. We've got Russia's got the drones that are flying around. So if you go up topside, just make sure you're not doing anything, anything that could bring attention. And, if you go up topside, you also know that there's drones, so they can be watching you. And then the last couple of days we were there after we finished the exercise, we had a couple of days of liberty, and we were told again, hey, make sure you have your VPN on, make sure you don't connect to any, public Wi-Fi networks, and make sure you recognize that, Russia's out there and they're watching us. So it was a constant, surveillance. Same thing happened in Norway, and I have some funny stories, but I'll tell you offline. But yeah, the Russians were there kind of watching us. So when I went to visit the Baltics, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, when I went backpacking through Europe, I was a little worried that, I was already on their list. Maybe I was a little, hypochondriac, but I was a bit worried.
Well, I mean,
wait, you hiked the Baltics?
Well, I went backpacking.
Right.
Stayed in Airbnbs and just flew from one capital to another. So I spent 3 months in Europe, and then came back and went to Costa Rica for 6 weeks, spent some time in New York and California and Miami, and then flew also to Europe again. So I did a total of 6 months backpacking in Europe, not hiking, but taking trains and planes and going to all the cities there. And so I spent time in Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia. And I also spent time in Helsinki because I'm after I did the Russian problem set a few times in the Marine Corps, I was very interested in learning what the history was from their perspective. So I spent about 3 weeks in the Baltics.
Wait, what's the Russian problem set? That sounds interesting. What is that?
I think we're talking about it right now, right? Russia.
Oh, okay. I'm sure there's more to it. That's awesome. I heard Riga is beautiful. My mom has been to the Baltics, and she said that Riga was absolutely stunning. I think it was Riga or Tallinn. I forgot which one she said was absolutely just like insanely beautiful.
They're both beautiful. The unique piece of Tallinn is that it is the largest UNESCO cultural heritage site in the world. The entire town has a big wall, an old ancient, wall of the city, and it's pretty much still put together. So it's the largest and one of the oldest cultural heritage sites. So that was awesome. And then Riga is right there on the bay. So it's just beautiful.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So how far is that hydrofoil from Helsinki to Tallinn?
I took a ferry from Helsinki to Tallinn. It was about an 1.5-hour ferry. It was really very quick.
I never thought about that. I guess on the map, you kind of assume, to me, like the Baltics are so kind of Russia adjacent, even though I know they're closer to Finland.
Yeah.
That I just never think of it as part of Scandinavia, but I guess it's right up there.
Yeah. And then it was like 45 minutes to an hour flight from Tallinn to Riga, and then Riga to Vilnius. And then I went from Vilnius to Warsaw and hung out there for a couple of days, and then took a day trip up to Krakow and visited, Auschwitz and Birkenau to understand that history. And it was about, 2 weeks before the election, and I just walked out of the gas chambers crying. So I don't want this to happen again. But anyway, it was a wonderful time. I really enjoyed the Baltics. They were wonderful people. They were so happy and so proud to be free. After World War II, the Allies freed Germany, but Poland and the Baltics were still under the Soviet power because we didn't want to, risk World War III and a nuclear war. So they kept fighting. The freedom fighters fought for decades in the woods there. And so now when they become free, they did that whole chain across the Baltics in the 90s. And they just love their independence, and they're so proud of themselves. And it was a wonderful experience to be with those people.
Can we talk a little off topic here for a second? Because
I know a lot of people have mentioned this in the chat. Jaclyn, I don't know if you know about this yet, but
so go ahead, Michelle.
No, Julie, set it up.
Well, I'm going to set it up by saying that, of course, Michael Cohen is trying to suck back up to Trump, and people are like, "Is Midas Touch going to dump him? Is Lev Parnas going to?" You guys, I'm just going to say it, and I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to say it. These people are all grifters. They're just grifters. Okay. They are. We saw an opportunity to make money off of progressives, so they decided to be anti-Trump. Michael Cohen, I was on, and I'm going to say it because a lot of my friends have him on their podcasts all the time, and God bless. But I will say this: Michael Cohen has never been invited to this podcast because Michael Cohen and I were on CNN right after the election in 2024, before Trump even took office, and Donald Trump was already somebody that Michael Cohen was trying to suck back up to.
There was a shift.
And understand that, like, if you're somebody who's morally corrupt enough to be in Trump's inner circle the first time, that's just who you are. And, he figured out a way to make money off of progressives who are all of a sudden, like, oh, this guy's just spilling the real dirt on Trump, and he's going to spill all the dirt on us. He's not spilling jack. He's not. He's got stuff that he's been sitting on because he's worried about himself. He's worried that Trump's going to come after him again. Yeah. He's trying to suck back up to Trump. He's trying to get back into Trump's inner circle. Who the hell knows whether he's successful or not? He certainly did not give up Trump in the way that he could have. Now he's saying, for people who missed the news, that Letitia James and Alvin Bragg, the DA of New York, the Manhattan DA, and Letitia James, the Attorney General of the state of New York, forced him to testify against Donald.
Coerced him.
Yeah, it's called a subpoena, buddy. Like, you got to comply, right?
Right.
And so,
and of course, that's the headline, because that's how the media reports it, right? They don't give context or anything, and unfortunately, all people do is read the headline. So it says, Michael Cohen says that Letitia James and Alvin Bragg coerced him into testifying or going against Trump.
So,
And
yeah. I mean, like, there's a whole grifter scam here going on that I just don't like. I'm not going to necessarily single all these people out by name, but I think you could probably figure out who they are. And it's people who are like, I've got inside information on what's going on in the Trump orbit. My source is telling me I've got inside information. You don't have jack shit. You don't have jack shit. What you have is an ability to get progressives who are desperate for gossip to be like, oh, let me subscribe. Let me find out what's happening for real. These people have no effing clue. Most of them were bit little players on the outskirts of Trump world. If you hung around in New York City long enough, any one of us were bit players on the outskirts of Trump world. You know how many times I hung out with Donald Trump at Fox News? Come on. Do you ever see me try to monetize that? No, because I have no no connection to him. I don't want any connection to him. I never wanted any connection to him because he's not somebody that if you ever had any sentient brain cells in your head would be somebody you'd want to be associated with. And this goes back to the 1980s. So if you were remotely involved with Donald Trump before, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially like as Donald Trump's like business associate, like, you know what I mean? Like I give a little bit more grace to people who worked in that first White House, a little bit, because their, career,
Oh, I don't. Let me tell you something. If you,
I said
little. I have a very clear line, you guys. If you stuck around after Charlottesville, when he said there were both people on both sides, and you only left and you spoke out after he lost the election in 2020. And you only spoke out after you thought he was never coming back to power. And then you used January 6th as the predicate for why you were shocked and appalled for why that happened. Well, guess what, my friends? You stuck around in 2017 and 2018 when he said the 2016 election was stolen from him, despite the fact that he won it. So come on. Come on. Mayday mobster. That's what you guys, we should call you guys Mayday mobsters.
Oh, God. That's funny.
That's great.
I mean, here's my thing here. Michael Cohen, I felt bad for him at first. I really did. I felt bad for him.
I don't.
At first, when he was testifying, I was in a different universe at that time. I was in former Republican world, and I was like, I was around that all the time. Michael came on the show that I produced very often. In the beginning days of Seneca Project, Michael was very supportive of us. So, for that, I am appreciative. And I remember talking to him at the Stop Trump Summit in October of 2022, I think it was, maybe 2023. I think it was 2023. And I remember he looked, because I think he was like, they're going to bring me in. They're going to bring me in to testify. They're going to subpoena me. And it was like when they were doing the investigation. And he was like saying, he's like, they're going to come after me or something like that. And I genuinely saw fear in his face, like they're going to kill me kind of thing. But, seeing him, that shift that immediately happened right after the election, I was like, God damn it. God damn it.
Immediate. And listen, look, if you were anti-Trump after January 6th, or even better yet, if you were anti-Trump even before January 6th, but after he lost the election in 2020, it's because it was easy. You never thought the guy was coming back. After January 6th, you really thought the guy was never coming back. So it was very easy to come over to this side of the aisle and start grifting and basically saying, oh, wait a second, I've got all this inside dirt and I'm a victim of Donald Trump and give me money. Yeah. And a lot of them did that. And now he's back. And to some extent, actually, I don't feel bad for them at all because they got what they deserve. Now he's back and he's out for vengeance. Because these people never were sincere in their convictions. You know when you were sincere in your convictions? In the 1980s, in the 1990s, in the 2000s, when this guy ran for president the first time, when this guy ran for president and became president and said there were fine people on both sides of the aisle. But the reality is they all decided that the grift was worth it on his end because he's very good at helping them get rich.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden now they're like, oh shit, what did we do crossing Donald Trump? He's out for vengeance. Well, guess what? Some of us were here from the very beginning.
Yep. Well, exactly. And you know, I'm not going to name any names. But in the summer of 2023, there's a lot of drama in my world. And I remember I was up at my parents' house for like a whole month. And I remember I would take phone calls outside and I would walk up and down my parents. They have a really long driveway. I would walk up and down, take the calls, right? Get my steps in. And there was one person in particular that I had many, many conversations with that month, just about a bunch of stuff. And I will never forget what he said to me. And this is a former Republican. And he said, listen, we don't like Trump. Trump was the line that we were just like, we're not going to cross that line as Republicans. Like like he's disgusting. He's this and that. Like, he goes, we had a business decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
We had a decision to make as business people, how we were going to go.
I have no respect.
Of course.
No respect.
It changed my view forever. I will never forget it. But he said that to me. He was like, we had to make a business decision.
They chose being rich over their principles of this democracy.
And they're pretending that the principles is what they're about, whereas in fact, it's really easy cash.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, I'm kind of over it, because all of it, every so often you hear these things about like so-and-so's feuding with so-and-so, and this one is, not really a real progressive. Like, they never were. You guys, I'm sorry. They never were. And
Heidi, don't feel bad. I did too. Like, I mean, I like Michael. I mean, he's like a lot. Like, I mean, he's has a lot of energy, right? But he was always entertaining. And again, like when I was over at LP, he came on the show that I produced, and like I saw him at things, and it was always nice. And I genuinely, because you know what it is? I think I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that people could change. And unfortunately, the part is that I don't think they can. Jaclyn, sorry, what were you saying?
Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. They're smart people. They knew exactly what they were getting into. He's a snake, and he was trying to get rich, and he, was able to compromise his principles so quickly because he saw money, and he wanted to associate those that had money. So I don't feel bad for him. He's a snake, and his true colors showed, and I hope he gets what's coming for him.
Well, I'll say this from my perspective, like, you want to go, by the way, I think there are a lot of people doing really good stuff in indie media. And I think, for instance, I think Midas Touch is doing great work. They are breaking some good stuff. There are a lot of people doing some great work.
Yeah.
So this is not about them. What I don't like is this bullshit high school, like, you're not, like this bullshit, like, you're a grifter. No, you're a grifter. No, you're a grifter. No, you're a grifter. Like, just show up and speak your convictions. But if your convictions waver depending on where Donald Trump is in the firmament, then you've got no convictions.
Yeah. And
as I keep saying, if you stuck around Donald Trump after Charlottesville, when he said there were fine people on both sides, I remember all of these stories about Gary Cohn, who was, in the Trump administration, saying that he was so conflicted. Gary Cohn, the former president of Goldman Sachs, so conflicted.
Yeah.
Because, he couldn't believe that Trump would say there were fine people on both sides, but he stuck around. Really? Because if I were working for, listen, Michelle, you and I have both walked away from pretty lucrative careers because of morals, right? And my attitude is, I just don't understand why we're sticking around. Listen, I helped elect, he's governor for the next 3 days, Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, and spent 4 years glued at the hip with him, and devoted myself to his rise and his career more than I devoted myself to probably any other candidate in the world. I truly was like in love with him and his wife and just how they were, and how they were sincere. And he really let down women. That's it. That was the end of me and him.
Yeah.
I walked away from a lot.
Yeah.
My attitude is like, there's more important shit in life than to cling to power. And I will tell you, 99.999% of the people I was with stuck around and decided that being and proximity to power was more important. Well, that's your decision. But now that he's gone, or he's going to be gone in 3 days, I guarantee you all of these people are going to go to their local favorite blogger and be like, oh, this guy really sucked. You know what? Secretly, I really didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
If they do that, I will have zero respect for them. Zero. I would rather they stuck by him to the dying end and say, you know what? This guy was my guy. And I have more respect for Stephen Miller than I do for people who are like, well, you know, I never really was a Trumper. It was just bullshit. No, because you stuck around when you thought he was powerful, and now you're trying to come back because you think he's powerful. He is powerful again, and you don't think he is powerful again, and you're scared shitless that he's going to come after you. So you exploited people for their naivete, thinking you've changed your stripes and that you're a different person, and you weren't. I have all the respect in the world for Mary Trump.
Oh, I love Mary Trump. Mary Trump is a good person. She's a nice person. I like her a lot.
I mean, like, I respect Mary Trump. Mary Trump has been very, very, very clear about where she is in life.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if her uncle is president. It doesn't matter if her uncle is on the outs.
Mm-hmm.
She says what she says about him.
And she has sacrificed a great deal in her own life to do all of that. Like, just so people know, like, it was not easy for her to do that. Not just like in terms of being a public person now, but like, you know, he put her through hell and is still putting her through hell.
Yeah.
Because, you know, nobody turns on Donald. And by the way, I love that she calls him Donald. She never calls him anything else. She was like, Donald. Well, you know, for you probably hates it.
Here's her uncle. What she's supposed to call him.
Well, I know, but it's never like Trump or my uncle. You know, it's very pointed, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, I respect people like that. I respect Tara Setmayer because Tara Setmayer is not trying to be like, well, I was a Republican once, I could be a Republican again.
Oh,
like,
God, no. Oh my God, no.
Like,
no.
Tara is consistent. She couldn't stand this guy when he was on the out, when he was in the first time. She couldn't stand him when he was on the outs, and she can't stand him again now. Like, that's a consistent person who
has never wavered.
She's never wavered. She is uncompromised. Like, she talks about that, but she's absolutely right. Like, tremendous respect for people like Tara Setmayer, who walked away from a lot. Walked away from her own political party. I mean, it's a lot easier for some of us to be like, we're Democrats and we're, you know, we're going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, listen, more than once she's had to do things like that, and it's that doesn't those kinds of people don't come around often, and you can kind of tell who these people are in the space and who aren't. Yeah. And listen, again, like, this stuff is a business, right? I mean, but and maybe I'm naive here, but like, this is why I watch The Bulwark. I really like them. I think they're smart. I think they're business people. They need to make money. They need to turn a profit, right? But they're also like telling the truth and doing things that are important and bringing information and perspective to people. Jaclyn, I don't know. Do you watch The Bulwark?
I do, and I think it's very informative. I do appreciate the work that they do. I just hope that they stick with the convictions that they have and don't turn their backs on, you know, on the principles that, you know, we base our foundation, our government on, just for money. You know, and I think Tara has been a very good role model for those that have decided to stand up for principle and not look back. So as much as I appreciate The Bulwark, they do provide a lot of great work, and I'm very informed for listening to them. I just hope they walk the line and they continue to stick with their principles. Yeah,
I think that they will, because I honestly think as Republicans or as conservatives, they were like the slowest to kind of come to like be resist libs. You know what I mean? Like, because I just saw this from where I sat, like after the 2020 election. I felt that there was like a little bit of them that was like, maybe it can be okay again. And I think they saw quickly that like that was never going to happen. But you know, they have investors. They had one really big investor in The Bulwark that allowed them to kind of, I'm sure, be in the red for a little while to set things up and get things going. And they have amazing people who write for them. And like, it's just, I think they do such a great job. And I think that there are a lot of, and Tim Miller, you know, while I do not always agree with him on some things, re Joe Biden, I find him to be very funny. When it's Tim Miller and Sam Stein, I'm like, I'm there, because it's, I don't know, I find it to be very funny. And Sam Stein always has that thing behind him? Do you know what I'm talking about? The George Bush thing? And it
Yeah.
says, "Now watch this drive."
Oh, watch this drive.
It's very funny. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's other kind of like resist lib kind of, companies in this space now that I don't, love some of the things that they do and their tactics and stuff. And I don't know that I really like them, but I think the most important thing at the end of the day is that, there was that chart that came out that had the bubbles, right? And it was all the red bubbles of online presence of like right-wing conservative media. And it was all red. And then there was like a tiny little blue thing down here and it was Midas Touch. And there was a tiny little blue thing over here that was like the Young Turks or whatever. And then there was like, and it's like, we're getting our asses kicked. So like, I'm just kind of like, you know what? Go do what you got to do. Get the message out there as much as you can. And the Midas Touch, their podcast does very well. And, so.
Yeah.
And they used to be a super PAC, and then they dissolved the super PAC and then turned it into a business that they do now. And I mean, maybe they do have a super PAC now. It's not called Midas Touch, but they decided that this was a better use of their time and resources, which, whatever. But I don't know. Did you guys see the New York Times, Michelle Goldberg?
Yeah, about women.
No, she said, I will show you here. This page, the resist libs were right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't.
Yeah, the resistance libs were right.
What's the thesis?
Well, that we were right from the get-go. And Michelle Goldberg, just so people know, if you don't know her, is a very, very smart, very like she's a fantastic writer, writes a lot about women's issues. And the fact that the New York Times allowed that to be published, finally, I was like, how long did that take? 10 years?
Because they can't control it. If you're an op-ed writer, you can write whatever you want. The only person.
I know, but it's like the first time I've ever seen a headline like that.
Yeah.
Hillary the hawk, Donald the dove. I mean, please, come on.
Oh, well, that was Maureen Dowd. Yeah. Nice try, Maureen. Maureen Dowd. You know what? I have to say, Maureen Dowd's been around since the 90s. Like, at some point, you can't keep doing this well anymore. Like, you got to know where to go.
Or like shapeshift a little bit or something.
Yeah, she's, like when she gives her column over to her brother Kevin every year, like her MAGA brother Kevin, like, why are you giving, you don't know about this? Yeah, Maureen Dowd has a brother named Kevin. She's got many brothers.
Kevin! Sorry.
Got a brother named Kevin. And Kevin is full on MAGA. And so she, in the interest of, I guess, balance, / I guess she doesn't want to write a column that week, gives the column over to her brother Kevin, who uses it to trash Democrats. And I'm like, why are you giving the most valuable piece of real estate in journalism to your random MAGA brother Kevin? Like, do I need to read about your brother Kevin? Do I care about your brother Kevin? What has your brother Kevin done other than be related to you that merits my caring about his opinion? I just realized my computer's about to die. So talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to get a charger.
Okay. All right. That's insane. That is insane. I
give him a platform.
That's kind of my thing. Like, unless there's value added, you know what I mean? Unless there's some sort of, I don't know, there's a greater understanding at the end, or maybe there was a listening, or someone changed their mind or something. I'm not saying like shut people out who disagree with you, but like, I just don't know that I want to have a conversation, or I'll give someone a platform who doesn't think I have rights. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I want to give somebody that opportunity to share their opinion in the New York Times. Like, you know what I mean?
It's really hard to find some common ground with some of these people, and I'm trying to be a mature adult here and see if we can find some common ground. But there's just this
yeah.
It's like, I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with it. I don't have patience for
well,
people.
It's like and that. Also right. If you're Julie talks about this. It's like the Earth is flat, the Earth is round. If we're coming to the argument, the conversation, and the person you're talking to thinks the Earth is flat, like how is this going to go? Like, you know what I mean? Like we're living on two different planets. So, and we're not talking about marginal tax rates anymore. Like this is much bigger and much worse and much deeper than that. And, Don Lemon, he does this like man on the street stuff, and he stopped some guy, this older man who was randomly wearing rubber gloves while driving. It was strange. And asked him, he's like, what do you,
from a murder scene? Like, why was he wearing rubber gloves?
It was weird. It was, and they were like clear anyways, and like too big for him. Anyways, go find it on Don Lemon's TikTok or whatever. But Don Lemon asks him, like, what do you think about, all of the stuff with ICE or whatever? And he's like, can I really be honest? And he was like, yes, please. And he's like, I think that this is not that big a deal. Like all these people are here illegally and like they're criminals and we're going after the worst of the worst. And he goes, but they're not going after the criminals. And he's like, well, yes, they are. And he's like, mm-mm. And so they go back and forth. And Don Lemon goes, can I show you the statistics of like what I'm talking about? He said, sure. So he shows him that like 72% of the people that they're detaining have no criminal record. How many number of American citizens have been detained, things like that. And the guy goes, I'm stunned. He goes, I'm stunned. And he goes, can I ask where you, and he's like, because I watch the news all the time and I've never heard this.
Because he watches Fox all the time.
Right. And Don goes, what do you watch? And he goes, well, Fox News. And he goes, a little bit of CNN and MS Now, yeah. But he goes, but Fox for the most part. And Don was like, yeah, they don't want you to know this. And he's like, this is real information. And the guy was like, wow, I'm stunned. And like, I found it like slightly refreshing, like that someone was open to listening. Like, you know what I mean? Like that little door sort of cracked open, because a lot of people would be like, F you, no, fake news, whatever. But this guy was actually like, and maybe it's because there was a camera there, I don't know. But he was like, oh, I didn't know that. And there was, I don't know, like he seemed like he could have been like just like a nice man who lost his way. Maybe he's a Nazi. I don't know.
Like, a lot of these people are nice people. It's so interesting that you say this. I was out to dinner last night here in Eastern Pennsylvania, with a couple that we're really good friends with, and they're very much on the same wavelength as us. But we're looking around the place where we were, and they know everybody pretty much at this restaurant because they live here full time, and we don't. And they said probably 75% of the people here are MAGA. Mm-hmm. And they said, but if you speak to them, they're like the nicest people. You'd never know. And I said, well, yeah, no
Nazis were nice people too. I mean,
well, yeah. And I said, no shit, because these people all look exactly the same.
Right.
They all go to the same places for dinner. I looked around, the wait staff was all white. There's not one Mexican among them.
Right.
And they have not come into contact with anybody who's not like them ever. And so as a result, all of this is happening somewhere else. It's not happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and so like, it's true. I mean, they're all seemingly very nice people who don't think much about what happens outside the gates of their little gated communities.
Yep. And this is where, and I think this was in the Nuremberg movie, which everyone should watch. Oh, this is a good question from Mary. I'm going to put that up in a second. It's important that we see these people as human beings, not because they deserve our compassion or anything, but like for our own benefit, because these aren't like these cartoonish ghouls like coming out of like a basement, coming out to like round up people. Like these are human beings like you and me who get up every day and put their socks on and go to Walgreens and pick up their cough medicine. Like they're us. But they're not. And that's where it's like we have to kind of, I don't know, like reprogram ourselves to understand that like they walk and live amongst us. And for that reason, we have to keep an eye out and understand that.
What I want to know is, where's the empathy, right? Like, where's the empathy for these people? Where is the notion that even though I don't know or maybe come into contact with anybody who doesn't look like me, it doesn't mean that I don't have empathy for them and for what they're going through. I mean, there was a baby who was tear gassed and flashbang into the hospital.
Yep.
And I gotta say, Jaclyn, I know Michelle watched this, and I wouldn't expect you to have, but I was on CNN on Monday, Tuesday, at some point this week, and I'm debating these Republicans, and I said about Renee Good, I said this could happen to this could be any one of us. And this guy goes, Noah Rothman from the National Review, goes kind of, as ballistic as he could go, which is not really that ballistic, and he goes, I mean, it couldn't happen to you because you're not a troublemaker. You wouldn't put yourself in that situation. There was a family of 6, a Black family, and it's relevant that they're Black because, of course, the racists at ICE don't think of them as on the same level as anybody else.
Yep.
And they were, I think, coming back from some event or maybe trying to get out. Like they ran into, as they were driving.
Yeah, they were trying to get out of there.
And an ICE agent literally released tear gas into a car.
And didn't they cover up the vents on the front of the car too, to get them to get out, because they were like, get out. And they were like, no. And so they threw it in there and covered up the vents so that it would gag them.
There was a 6-month-old baby who almost died. His lungs were They don't care. I don't know this family. I haven't been to Minneapolis in 30 years. I haven't been to Minnesota in literally 30 years. I still have tremendous empathy for these people. What is wrong with you that you can't empathize with people who don't look like you?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. But I was in class yesterday, and I was taking a leadership class, and all about yesterday was getting together and talking about your narrative, something important that has affected your life. And then we broke up into groups, and we kind of dug into our narrative some more. And some of these people I've never met before, the 2 of the 4 people in my group, and to have an hour and a half to speak with us together and talk about our narratives and how it impacted us. I recognize that we have more in common than we do different. And what we need to do is pierce away the superficiality of it all and really get down to getting, being personal with each other and getting to know each other. And I think America has lost that personal connection with each other. And we're living in completely different silos with different information, different facts, different feelings,
different algorithms,
different algorithms. And what we need to do is figure out a way. And this is part of the generational struggle that, I think that needs to occur, is we need to break away those bonds and barriers and boundaries and really figure out a way to reconnect with each other in America and find out that we have more in common than we do different. And, as long as we continue to believe in, the positives of human beings, I think we can kind of breach that gap, but it's going to take effort on our parts to be mature, individuals with that empathy to continue to reach out and extend that olive branch so that we can find that connection and kind of move past this and kind of rebuild American society into a bigger, better, more approachable and more unified, group of people that are positive to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's an interesting point that you make, Jaclyn, because I'd love to actually hear people's thoughts in the chat about this, because I think there is a counter argument to this, which is that what do you have in common with somebody who's a monster? And if you're a guy that shoots a woman in the head and then says, fucking bitch, and shoots her dead, what do you, are we supposed to look for the humanity in that guy? I
don't look for the humanity in that guy, but I try to look for humanity in the people who watch the wrong things and are learning the wrong bits of information and therefore don't know facts because they're not, and maybe this is their own fault. And maybe I shouldn't have, empathy for any of these people. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here, but there has to be, and as hard as this is, if any of us start to see a MAGA person start to realize that they've been duped and that all of this is a lie and, oh my God, this is horrible. If you see any of them, there is a little window of opportunity to have a conversation, and it's really hard because we have been at this for a decade, screaming at these people, being like, oh my God, don't you see what you have done? But I do think that, being open to that and having conversations with people who may be seeing some truth or maybe seeing the light is part of the way out of here. I don't know.
I think it's interesting because I think there's just some sort of understanding that things got so bad in Germany in 1945. And certainly after the Soviet occupation of Germany, where the Soviets just literally raped women between the ages of, girls, women, the age of 6 and, 86, in revenge. And so for Germans to be like, this is what Hitler brought us. This is like this is what Nazis wrought. But we actually never talk about it. And it's such a shame that we don't ever talk about it. And like, if you watch Nuremberg, which hopefully you all either have or will soon, Joseph Goebbels' daughter, Etta Goebbels, who died just a few years ago, was an unrepentant Nazi. Unrepentant Nazi. And
I thought he killed all his children. Joseph Goebbels.
Sorry, not Goebbels. I'm so sorry. Who did Russell Crowe play? Goering. Sorry, Goering.
Not
a little girl.
The other one.
Yeah, Etta Goering.
Yeah.
Etta Goering, the little girl in the movie.
Etta Goering. Yeah, because I was like, Goebbels like killed his kid in the bunker.
No. I'm talking about Goering. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Repentant Nazi. And I think what we forget is that there is a strain of unrepentant Nazis that continued to live and actually continues to still live in Germany and wants to bring some of that back. And so the question for me is like, I don't know what it's going to take for these people to see the light. Because if something like World War II and the devastation that wrought on their country generationally did not get some of these people to see the light, I don't know.
I think we got to just continue to fight and continue to try to bridge that gap and be the mature, empathetic people with reason and try to reach out. And if somebody, is starting to recognize that the wool was pulled over their eyes.
In the special election to fill Mikey Sherrill.
Oh, what was
there
that?
is a piece there that, we may be able to get in. The worst thing you can do is say, I told you so. You have to be able to open up and embrace them and kind of wrap your arms around them and recognize the commonality that you have and be that, empathetic leader to bring us all together so that we can move forward in a positive direction. I think the worst thing we could do is point our finger at them and say, you were wrong. I told you were wrong. I believe in the positiveness of people. And I continue to try to be an optimist here. And as much as I'm heartbroken to see what's going on in America, even having that class yesterday kind of reemphasized the fact that there's a lot of strangers out there that we have much more in common than we do, that we have different. And I just want to be a positive, impact, of people's lives and embrace them. And if they're willing to turn, they're willing to recognize, like, bring them on board. Embrace them with open arms.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like having grace for people who are willing or open to listening or starting to change their minds. And it's like, as infuriating as it is, as frustrating as it is, like that's the whole thing about deprogramming people from cults, right? I mean, like that's like every expert that talks about this stuff says that. And it's like, you want to scream in their face, like, hey, dumbass, like, what's wrong with you? Like, how could you have done this? But if there's a window to try to deprogram like their worldview, it's like, you have to do it. And it's really frustrating. And that's where, just in my own life, I mean, I learned about someone who's like not a family member, but like married through a family member kind of person who's known my parents a long time. And the family we have in between these two, us and him, we don't really speak to because we are Democrats and don't like Trump, and he doesn't like Trump, but the people in the middle like they love MAGA and have cardboard cutouts of Trump in their living room. But we found out that this person, his son died a couple months ago. And I have another family member who told me about this, and I was like, wait, what? And she was like, oh yeah. She was like, it's, he had glioblastoma, and the thing that was keeping him alive was a clinical trial. And I was like, what? And so she showed me all the stuff that, they had a back and forth or whatever. And she was like, yeah, she was like, he never liked Trump. He was always like, I've always been anti-Trump, but like now I'm anti-Trump for a different reason, a personal reason, because the only thing that was keeping my son alive was the NIH funding for clinical trials for glioblastoma. Trump cut that, and then he died. And that is a real personal story of tragedy. And he had 2 children. He was 39 years old. You know, unfortunately, and I said to my mom, I'm like, don't you think that maybe these other family in between us, like if they, like, what are they thinking about that? Like, how are they not like so angry? And my dad was like, well, I don't know that they would see it that way. They would probably be like, well, you know, it's too bad, he would have died anyways, or something like that. They would just twist themselves into whatever worldview that they had to rationalize it. And I'm like, that is bonkers to me.
Just feel like the onus is on us to not give up and to continue to engage with them.
Yeah. Somebody just said in the chat, like, don't let anyone steal your empathy. Like, don't let anyone take that from you. Oh, here it is. It's Mary. Yeah. Don't let anyone steal your empathy.
But they think empathy is a dirty word. They actually said so.
Yeah. Elon, he said it was like off. It was like weakness or awful or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, Heidi said here, I don't know if you guys saw this. The Black Panthers are back and armed to the teeth. They are saying they will stand and protect the other people of America. I have a clip, actually, of the Black Panthers. They're out in Philadelphia. I personally think this is amazing because, honest to God, like, for all the Second Amendment, like, oh, my guns, my Second Amendment. Okay, well, then let's do some Second Amendmenting. And here we go.
ICE agent ever run up on me, I guarantee you they won't. I'll put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no shit. Places where there are a lot of immigrants at, I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them and it needs to start escorting them to and from everywhere to make sure that they're safe. Because them ICE agents ain't gonna act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means them shotgun shells that shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are gonna legally arm yourself with something bigger than what they got. Those who serve in the public, they should be fearful of the public. They should be fearful that the public is going to be dissatisfied with their job that they're doing, not feeling like they're tyrants, not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies. That makes them immune to whatever the people would do. I think you want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher. You meet them with equal force. All power to the motherfucking people.
No power to the pig.
I love this so much. I have one more clip of them.
And just open-ended, any comments you want to give to like my generation, the younger generation, or just any generation?
Legally arm yourselves and unify, or else you will die. And I mean that in the literal sense. You see on the news all the time, Renee. You know, everybody say her name, Renee.
Renee.
Right? She just got shot in the face by ICE. Right? This is a real thing, and they're not gonna stop. And the more they hurt people and get away with it, the more they're going to get that momentum to keep going. So everybody needs to unify and come together, and everybody needs to arm themselves, right? Because the revolution is in the barrel of a gun, whether you believe it or not. You want to be comfortable and you want to be nice. You don't want no confrontation. Look, Huey P. Newton said it the best. Anybody without a gun is either a slave or they're about to be one. You know? So, and people worried about people being scared of him. Huey P. Newton also said this when somebody asked him, don't you think the Black Panther Party is scary? Don't you think it's scaring people? He said, my people have been the ones afraid. Hey, sister, we got free groceries over here. Free hot soup and free clothes. He said, my people be the one afraid for hundreds of years. So if you're saying people scared of us now, that's a compliment. That means we're doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Would you rather be scared of ICE? Would you rather be scared of the slave catcher, the police? Would you rather be scared of the government forces that are working against the people? Or would you rather be them scared to mess with you? That's for you to choose. That's for you to decide. Unify, arm yourself, and keep this mentality all the time. All power to the people.
All power to the people. Where can people find you? Like on social media?
I'm Chairman Paul Birdsong on Instagram. You can find the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense on TikTok and Instagram. Black Panther Party is split up by chapter, so whatever state you are in, if there's a chapter there, type in BPP and the name of your state, and it should pop up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, let me just say this. First of all, and somebody said this in the chat, and it's so true. The Second Amendment doesn't apply to Black people. We know that, right? Like in the minds of these crazies,
yeah,
it just applies to them. Second, and I've said this before, all those I'm looking out my road here because down the street there are a bunch of flags that are being flown from houses that say, don't tread on me.
Ugh,
right?
dumb. You don't even know what that means.
All right. Okay. Don't tread on me. Okay. Don't tread on me is the government not treading on me.
Yeah. Right. That's the whole point of the Second Amendment, right?
Exactly.
We got the lawyer here who could probably speak to it a little bit more eloquently than I can, but like that, the Second Amendment, right, is to bear arms against a tyrannical government, right?
The original impact of the Second Amendment or purpose of it was because we didn't have a standing army. So you needed to make sure that you had the Minutemen that were able to bear arms against a tyrannical government. So absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's a lot of my family members were in the militias of Massachusetts and New York, and like they had picked up their little muskets and ran outside,
So yeah, so my whole point is, but all of a sudden you can't do that now that they're in charge of the government because that's insurrection.
Right.
Okay, well, the guy made a good point about slave catchers. Slave catchers were absolutely legal.
That's the OG police.
Yep, that was legal and that was valid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit hypocritical, right? They're waving their flags, don't tread on me with their guns for a specific moment where the government is tyrannical and treading on the people. And here we are at this moment and they're siding with the tyrannical government. It's like, this is idiosyncratic here. Like what's the whole purpose of, that 3% that you have tattooed on your leg? What's the whole purpose of that don't tread on me flag and your right to bear arms? This is the point. We've come to it right now in the history of the United States where we need you to stand up against this tyrannical government, and you're actually siding with the wrong side.
Well, not just siding the wrong side, they're joining the wrong side because a lot of these people are now becoming icy.
Right. It's like you're part of the tyrannical government now. Yeah. Like you're and that's where, I mean, I could go on all day about this. We're like the original sin of this country, slavery, and then racism has never been dealt with. It's never really been faced. It's been sanitized. It's been whitewashed. We've never faced it. And for that reason, we have this forever standing, I hate to use the words culture war because it's not big enough. But, dividing people through racism and other, culture ideologies, I guess, to divide and stoke hatred in this country. And and that's where it's like, did we win the Civil War? I don't know. I don't know that we did.
But I think it's all part of the same thing.
Really?
Right? Because I guarantee you that clip of the Black Panthers is being circulated on Fox.
Oh, I'm sure.
7. And look at these people. They're total insurrection.
Yeah, I'm sure they're like, I don't care. Like, do it anyways.
Yeah. And my point is, if that were some white guy, you'd have no problem with it. If Barack Obama were president right now and that was a white guy saying
there were those white guys out on the mall at the Boogaloos. If people don't know what Boogaloos are, they're part of like that Proud Boy thing. They wear the Hawaiian shirts. It's ridiculous. But they like semi-automatic weapons, just walking around on the mall, the Capitol, just like that, no problem. No problem. But if you're a Black person and you do that, or a person of color, watch out, because then you're a threat. Yeah. That's why it's like the Black Panthers, when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I love it. I do. I just do. Because they never, and I hate guns. I hate them. I think that they're awful. I think that they have destroyed the fabric of this country in so many ways. I think they're terrorizing an entire generation of children. However, like, God forbid anything ever happened in this country. There was a civil war or conflict or something between two ideas. It's not going to be geographical this time. It's going to be neighbors on neighbors, cities and rural across the country. But there's one side that's got all the guns, guys. It's not us. And I saw a Reddit thread the other day. I kid you not. It was all women talking to each other about how to arm themselves. All liberal women being like, I don't know where to start. What should I buy? And them sending each other like links to different guns. And it's like, I wanted to get this pink one. They're like, don't get the pink one. Get the black one because they'll see it, and like they, if they see a woman's armed, like, or so, and they had all these like tips and tricks, and it was like, make sure you go get your training, like go to the range, be trained, make sure you go to a woman, don't go to a man for your training. And it was like the most supportive, but like sad. I was like, it's come to this. It has come to this. And Ms. Binks said, I know a lot of armed liberals. I live in New York, so I don't. But, I mean, I grew up in a house with a gun, because I lived in the country. Like, it was like country, I knew where it was. I certainly didn't go anywhere near it because it scared me. And I don't think anyone ever used it the whole time I was a child. But, I just... I said it feels like I feel like I'm inciting something, and I don't mean to, but it's just, I've been saying this since the election. I'm like, guys, I just, I don't see anything wrong with wanting to protect yourself at this point, because I don't trust people, and I think everything's crazy right now. But that's just me.
No, listen, it's a very interesting thing to ask all of these "don't tread on me" people. I'd love to ask Sean Hannity about that Black Panther. because his answer would be, he's an insurrectionist. We have a government. We're a nation of laws. Okay, but the whole time that we were told that you needed guns was to stand up to a tyrannical government.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
I want them to have a guest on to ask him that question. And they won't, but it would be nice. Well, that would be a viral moment.
They'd have some guy on who's not as smart as that guy. They'd have some like idiot, some
dummy.
Yeah.
I think we got to figure out a way to come to a compromise again. Trying to reach across the aisle, and I know I may sound kind of out there, but I have a gun. I have a Glock 19, and I go to the range and I go shooting.
I trust you with a gun. You were a Marine, like, you know what I mean. There's just too many idiots with guns. Right. You know what I mean.
I was at Officer Kennedy School for 12 weeks, learning all the ins and outs of the M16, how to take it apart, how to put it back together, the max, effective range. All these things before I was even able to shoot the gun.
Yeah. Well, Mary's asking here, I'd love to know what Jaclyn thinks about people arming themselves and getting some training. So yeah.
I think it's important to be able to exercise your Second Amendment right, but there needs to be a balance here, along with, protecting the rest of the people. And, you go out and try to get a car, you have to get insurance, you have to get a license, you have to have training, you have to have a seatbelt, all these things. Why can't we enforce some type of common sense gun laws for the American people to just put some limits on it? I'm not saying I want to take away people's guns. I think people have a right because it's definitely in the Second Amendment, but there needs to be a balancing test here to protect the citizens of the United States too, and make sure that we have to keep the interest of the American government in sight as well. So I'm not saying take away the guns. I'm saying let's have reasonable gun control, and let's have training. Let's have requirements.
That would be common sense. Common sense gun control. And that's the thing, is like, I've seen it in the gay community. A lot of my gay friends have said, I don't know how to use a gun. I don't know where but I'm going to go upstate to Westchester and I'm going to learn, because like a lot of the gay community and the trans people are all freaked out.
Well,
and a lot of people I know went to buy a gun after the election.
As a mother, let me tell you something. The last thing I want is for my son to be living in a country where everybody is armed to the teeth, because we're all afraid of each other. And I don't know what the solution to that is, because they're certainly not disarming. And
I know, right? That's the thing.
We're talking about arming against them.
Yeah.
So, all this makes me want to do is pack up and leave. Like, seriously. Because who the hell wants to be walking down the street wondering who among us is going to pull a gun on each other?
Yeah, it's terrifying. That's what I was like. I hate it. I hate it
too. All right. On that note, you guys, we've been at this for an hour and a half. Michelle, you and I have not gotten any sleep last night.
Yeah, I know. Can I just play two things from New York? Like, these are funny, and we can leave on a funny note. Here are three New York internet things that I found. Hold on, let me put up this banner, that are funny. So here's three. Here's the first one.
On the street just yelled at me, "Nice bag, fairy." So in the same tone of voice I said, "Hovering hairline, buddy," and he laughed. I love New York.
Which makes me think of when I saw a meme the other day about someone on the subway, and they were like, People in New York are the meanest and the nicest at the same time, because this woman was coughing and sneezing, and this other woman handed her a tissue and goes, enough. I'm obsessed. I love it. Okay, so here's another one.
Impression of an owl from the Bronx. Ho! 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 Thank you.
And here's the last one, having to do with law enforcement and how in a perfect world, this is how things could be.
What are you guys doing in the Bronx?
We're here every night.
No way, since when? Whoa, nah, this is crazy.
Be careful, all right? You gotta
all right, have a good night.
That's the New York I want to live in.
Yeah, it is the New York we live in.
Yeah. So anyways, and speaking of law enforcement, before we go, we did a podcast with Sheriff Chris Swanson from Genesee County, Michigan. He is running for governor of Michigan. He's a Democrat. You may have seen him. He gave a speech prime time on the last night of the DNC in 2004. Really nice guy, lots of energy. Talks a lot about this unity conversation we're having. He talks about that from the perspective of law enforcement and also someone running for office. Varying degrees of whether we agree or disagree with him is, we talk about that after the fact, Julie and myself. But really, I think interesting conversation, especially given the moment that we're living in. So we hope that you'll go check that out. It is on Apple Podcasts, and it is also on the Mayday podcast playlist on our YouTube. Which, if you're joining us right now, that's where you're on our YouTube page. So just click out of this and go watch that if you want. Any parting thoughts?
Everybody stay safe, especially if you are in Minnesota today. We are thinking about you. It is brutally cold out there. Please stay safe. If you're going to protest today or this weekend, stay safe there as well. They want to provoke us into something that would allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Just stay safe. Just stay safe.
Yep.
And
Jaclyn, or sorry, you weren't done. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. Jaclyn, any parting thoughts for the weekend? Hopefully we don't see you again, which we hopefully won't bomb anything before the weekend is over, but please.
First, thank you for having me on, and let's continue to have the resistance and stay positive about it. Recognize that we can unite here. There's more that we have in common that we have differently. Love your people, love your loved ones, love your cat, love Pumpkin, enjoy life. And
Pumpkin. Oh, wait, that's Pumpkin on your shirt. Oh, I thought it was some rando cat, but that is definitely Pumpkin. I love it. I love it. Well, from me, I will say thank you everyone for spending part of your Saturday with us. We're always so humbled by all of you showing up. It's really lovely. And so thank you for being here for Saturdays for Sanity, where we talk about things that hopefully don't go to the bad place, but sometimes we do. And so that's kind of where we went for a little bit today. And that's okay, because we ended up with rando TikTok videos. And for that said, please like and subscribe to the Mayday Network YouTube channel, because if we go live with breaking news, or if we're going to have any other exclusive content, you will be the first to know about it. With that said, everyone, take care, be safe, good night, and good luck. And apparently go Miami.
Yes.
Miami.
Oh, and
Bye.
go Bills. Go Bills. Bye, everyone.